Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Thursday, August 28th, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Boy, them white Republicans in Louisiana are crazy. They're taking their fight over voting rights straight to the U.S. Supreme Court. They're trying to gut a key provision of the Voting Rights Act because they do not want to see black people get a second congressional district. They lost once, now they're trying to go back again. Activist Gary Chambers will be here to talk about this very issue. Folks, 70 years ago on this day, Emmett Till was lynched in Mississippi. 62 years ago on this day, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. Well, today, it was a day of prayer here in the nation's capital. Pastor Jamal Bryant, Pastor William Lamar, of course, here at a church in D.C., and Reverend Al Sharpton had a protest on Wall Street in New York as well. We'll show you a little bit of both. Also, Donald Trump, yeah, he keep firing people. This time, the Surface Transportation Board member, Robert Primus. Could it be his stance on a merger that got him fired? U.S. Open, a French player, racist, makes remarks after she got her ass kicked by American Taylor Townsend, who fired back and who said, "Oh, I want all the smoke." All the smoke. Lots to talk about. And it's time to bring the funk. On Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, let's go.
He's got whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Now, folks, Louisiana, they already lost in the Supreme Court over the creation of a second black congressional district. They've had their state maps struck down. These racist white Republicans in Louisiana, they do not want to see black people get any political power in Louisiana. But guess what they now have done? They now have gone back to the Supreme Court, now wanting them to strike down a provision of the Voting Rights Act, but they also are arguing that, oh no, there should be no use of race in any redistricting decision. Now, here's the problem. Problem is this here. Supreme Court is looking at it. If the Supreme Court rules in Louisiana's favor, this could literally wipe out half of all of the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, in a recent legal brief, Louisiana called on the court to overturn Thornburg versus Gingles. Now, this landmark 1986 ruling has long required states to draw legislative maps that fairly represent minority voters, where racially polarized voting exists. Louisiana say they are not going to defend their own current congressional map, even though they were just defending those congressional maps. That map includes 2 majority black districts among the state's 6 congressional seats. Activist Gary Chambers Jr. joins us right now. Gary, glad to have you back on the show. So, Louisiana's doing the same thing Texas did. Going, Texas said, oh no, our 2020 maps, we didn't use race. Trump says, they were drawn illegally using race. And Texas goes, okay, we got to change them. So Louisiana, so tell me, the Louisiana Attorney General was literally just defending the very maps that they now say they're not going to defend.
Thank you, as always, Roland, for illuminating the issues here in Louisiana. Attorney General Liz Morrell has basically done, if you were someone who was on trial for murder and you had a lawyer that all of a sudden went to the judge and said, my client said they were not guilty, but I'm going to say that they're guilty and change the plea. That is what Liz Morrell has done in the middle of the stream. In March, she went before the Supreme Court to defend the maps that were drawn that gave Louisiana 2 black majority congressional districts. And now she has submitted a brief to the Supreme Court saying that when she comes to the court in October, that she believes that provisions of the Voting Rights Act should be struck down and that we should not have racialized districting because she believes that that is racist. The problem is that there has never been a time in America where racially polarized voting did not exist. Racially polarized voting still exists, and we know that because the Fifth Circuit just gave a ruling several weeks ago where it highlighted the race where I was in 2022 against Luke Mixon here, and there's a portion of that ruling that lays out that even when you segregate the conversation to just Democrats, that 60% of white voters voted for the white candidate, and that 60% of white candidates voted for the white candidate, and that 40% voted for the black candidate, and that 76% of black voters voted for the black candidate. What that tells us is that people are still voting based on their race because this state continues to deny black people because of their race.
Okay, and so what's crazy here, which is, again, just completely nonsensical, is Louisiana is trying another bite of the apple because they got rejected, and they tried everything. They went back to the Fifth Circuit. The Fifth Circuit ruled in their favor, and back and forth. And the Supreme Court's like, no, hell no. It violates Section. Then it was like, okay, fine, it violates Section 2, so we got to go ahead and do it. Same as Alabama. So these white Republicans in Louisiana, they have tried everything not to create this second district.
They've tried everything not to create it. The district was created under Jeff Landry. Jeff Landry never wanted to give us a second majority black congressional district. Liz Morrell said in this briefing that she gave that she defended this case in March, but she never changed her original position that these maps should not have been drawn. These maps and this decision is the most important conversation that should be happening in America. I know that folks are talking about Texas, Gavin Newsom's making noise in California, but if Gavin isn't coming to Louisiana, if Pritzker isn't coming to Louisiana, if they aren't making noise about what I consider the factory of current modern day white supremacy, if they aren't coming to the ground zero to come and see how do you make an impact where there are 4 million people, where you get a lower cost per vote to turn the vote in Louisiana than you do in Texas, than you do in Georgia, than you do in North Carolina, than you do in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, yet there's never been a serious attempt to do work in Louisiana, yet Kevin Rogers from the Heritage Foundation, Lafayette, Louisiana, born and raised, went to the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, wrote his dissertation on slavery. When you go back to Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise, Benton, Louisiana, Metairie, Louisiana, running the United States House of Representatives, helping move the agenda of Project 2025, and then you look at Jeff Landry and the cadre that supports him, and Liz Morrell, his hench person in the Attorney General office, has one of the most consequential cases in the history of our country before our Supreme Court, and Kavanaugh asking a question talking about a sunset on the Voting Rights Act, when the reality is, when will there ever be a sunset on racism? And these folks are talking about places other than Louisiana. It is mind-blowing to me, Roland. It is mind-blowing that the Democratic Party has encamped out in Louisiana, made serious investment in this state to show people that this is where the bigotry that we are trying to root out of this country is being orchestrated from. And if we solve it here, we can begin to uproot it in the rest of the country.
Who is the head of the Louisiana Democratic Party?
Currently, it is a brother by the name of Randall Gaines, former state representative.
Where is he?
Good question.
I mean, I'm just being honest. I've never received, like if I pull it up right now, this right here, go to my iPad. This is Louisiana Democrats. It says party leaders. Chair is Randall Gaines. And then it says Congressman Cleo Fields. It says Congressman Troy Carter, Senator Gerald Boudreaux, Representative Matthew Willard, House Democratic Caucus Chair. So the top 5 party leaders in Louisiana are all black.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm being straight up honest with you, Gary. You're the only one who's hit me direct trying to raise these issues. Not a single one of the black. I need everybody to understand. No, go to my iPad. I'm not showing y'all. This is not the leaders of the black caucus of the Democratic Party. No, these are the party leaders of the Democratic Party in the whole state of Louisiana. They're all black men. Am I missing something, Gary? Am I leaving anybody out?
I think that too often that we believe that we can get in the room and work a deal with people who are working against us every single day. Too often we've went in the room with some of these same people that are working against us in these Supreme Court decisions to make deals that were compromising to begin with, and now we're trying to figure out how not to have egg on our face before the voters of this state. The reality is that people have to recognize that I can't fight a devil that I helped put in position.
Go back to my iPad, y'all. This is the executive committee of the Louisiana Democratic Party. And so you see Randall Gaines chair, Katie Darling is first vice chair, Kyle Grace is second vice chair, Belinda Davis, Jeremy J.F. Thompson, C. Denise Marcel, Gian Duran, Dustin Granger, Laurie Herbert, Constantinu, Marjorie Esmond, Catherine Hurst, Michelle Johnson, Kyle Green, Lauren Jewett, Mel Manuel, and then you keep Leslie Bowie, Ryan Price, Giselle Hawkins, Jay Regan, Tarika Williams, Jerry Bowman, Lori Callis, Jamie Davis Jr., Vanessa Caston LaFleur, Corey Smith, Tia Mills, Matt Wood, J.E. Dubois. If I go to the top here, this is the executive committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 of the people on the Louisiana Democratic Party Executive Committee are black. And what's crazy, Gary, I ain't heard from one of these people to talk about this Supreme Court case that, if successful, could literally wipe out half of the Congressional Black Caucus. Are these people organizing and mobilizing the state?
Now, Roland, there are people on that list that are actively doing work. They don't have the bandwidth or the platform in some instances. Now, there are people that are not as forward thinking that are part of that leadership. And I think that they too often stand in the way of a real aggressive fight because there are too many people who believe that you can negotiate with terrorists. If these people continue to put a gun to our head the way that they do with our rights, why are we negotiating with them? The other thing to remember, Roland, is if this is effective, this doesn't take us back to 1964. This takes us back to 1877 at the end of Reconstruction. It allows them to eliminate black city council seats. It will allow them to eliminate black seats in the state legislature, not just in Louisiana. This will happen in every state in America. It will be the only seats and positions that black people will be able to hold will be citywide elected seats or at-large positions or mayor's positions. We will not be in a position to be able to have district seats even in majority black cities. And there was a time in America where that existed for 100+ years for black people in this country. And I think that too many of us have stayed on TikTok too long listening to informational videos to people who haven't picked up an encyclopedia that don't understand the reality of the dangers that we are facing today.
This is an ABC News story. Louisiana urges Supreme Court to bar use of race in redistricting in attack on voting rights. Louisiana has abandoned its defense of a political map that elected 2 black members of Congress and instead called on the Supreme Court to reject any consideration of race in redistricting in a case that could bring major changes to the Voting Rights Act. Now, here's what's crazy when you look at this here. This is what UCLA law professor Richard Hassan says. If Louisiana's argument prevailed at the Supreme Court, it would almost certainly lead to a whiter and less representative Congress, as well as significantly less minority representation across the country in legislatures, city councils, and across other district-based bodies. The state's high court filing was in response to the justice's call for new briefing and arguments in the Louisiana case, which they first heard earlier this year. Arguments will take place on October 15th. race-based redistricting is fundamentally contrary to our Constitution, said the Attorney General Elizabeth Morrell. But here's the thing, Gary. They do like race-based redistricting.
They do.
If it's white.
Yes, sir.
See, that's what I keep trying to explain to people. See, everybody keep talking about identity politics. If it's black, Latino, no. White is an identity. What they want, what they desire are to have as many white districts, because what have I been saying with my book, White Fear, how the browning of America is making white folks lose their minds. They are scared to death of the nation becoming majority people of color. They want to hold on to power. They do not want to let go. They want as many white folks in power as long as possible. Donald Trump don't want no black immigrants. He don't want no brown immigrants. He's like, why can't we just recruit as many white folk as we possibly can? And all of these folks are walking around being delusional and not understanding. And again, I keep saying this, and I love dancing. I love stepping, dancing, strolling, whatever the hell we want to do. But a lot of black folk are preoccupied with doing boots on the ground line dances and not understanding that these people want to completely, I keep saying it, defund black America. They want to snatch as much of our political power, economic power, educational power, what we've done in the area of health. They are going after it all. And the way to do that is to rip away our political infrastructure.
They are actively going after our mayors. They are actively targeting them with the government. They are trying to take away black political power within the Republican Party. And then we are arguing with black folks, trying to convince black folks that New Orleans still needs a black mayor. That we are having conversations with black people in this day that don't understand that in a time when people are attacking your very existence in power, where you have an attorney general of your state that is saying, actively saying that race should not matter when you know that they are discriminating against you. There has not been a black person elected statewide in Louisiana since the 1870s. And the reasons that those things exist is because racial hatred and bigotry still exist. The question I always ask is, when the white folks that were in the pictures in 1960s, when they were the ones picketing and boycotting against our children going to the school, where did those grandmothers go? Where were their children that were in the same school with my mother who went to a segregated McKinley High School? Where did all of those 78, 80-year-old people go? And who are their children? Who are their grandchildren? What do they manage? What positions of power are they holding here in Louisiana, here in Mississippi, here in Alabama, where they have learned that quiet racism works better than loud racism? So we will quote Dr. King in the very documents that we filed with the Supreme Court to strip your power away from you. They will bastardize our words and work against us because we are naive and foolish to think that our enemies are in any way trying to feed us anything good. They are broke clocks, wrong every single day.
You sent me this video of Jeff Landry. When was that video? When was that?
This was when, on Dr. King Day, Jeff opened a special session last year in 2024 to draw our congressional maps over. And he gives this speech where he quotes Dr. King, and he starts illuminating how Dr. King, it was so hard for Dr. King. He had to fight against things. All we have to do is press a button. But now your attorney general is working against that.
So here's what I want to do. I want to play this video, y'all. And if y'all want to hear word salad, I listened to it. I was like, man, what the hell is he talking about? Y'all listen to this. Y'all gonna get a kick out of this. Listen.
As we work on other electoral reforms with these redistricting maps, now is the time to also deal, I believe, with this common sense change. Today, we honor Dr. Martin Luther King. And I do not believe that it is mere irony that finds us here today, on this great day, on this consecrated day, where we seek to amplify the voice of few, where we seek to broaden the opportunity for participation in the government and governance of our people. The courage and the wisdom and the relentless pursuit of fairness in our electoral process was exactly what Dr. King spoke for. And so it should be profoundly moving that we do this on this day. In fact, his words in 1968, I believe, are wholly appropriate 56 years later at this very hour, where he said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." You see, for Dr. King's, his was an uphill journey into the headwinds of hate. His was a march into a battle, while ours is a mere walk in the park. His was a persecution for speaking his truth, while ours is just a comfortable dialogue. His was a mighty shove, while yours is simply a mere push of the button. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take these affairs and the things that have divided us in this state off the table so we can begin the work that the people have sent us here. God bless you. God bless each and every one. As we work on other electoral
I have
reforms,
no idea, Gary, what the hell he was talking about. He was just talking, talking. But I do want people to understand this is what this Associated Press story says. And y'all heard Gary say this, and I said this the other day as well. Go to my iPad. Y'all listen. It says, a second round of arguments is a rare occurrence at the Supreme Court and sometimes presages a major change by the High Court. The Citizens United decision in 2010 that led to dramatic increases in independent spending in U.S. elections came after it was argued a second time. When the court first heard the Louisiana case in March, several of the court's conservative justices suggested they could vote to throw out the map and make it harder, if not impossible, to bring redistricting lawsuits under the Voting Rights Act. The case involves the interplay between race and politics and drawing political boundaries. Just 2 years ago, the court, by 5-4 vote, affirmed a ruling that found a likely violation of the Voting Rights Act in a similar case over Alabama's congressional map. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh joined their 3 more liberal colleagues in the outcome. Gary, I have been screaming from the rooftops. Black folks, pay attention. These arguments are October 15th. And again, it has been Clarence Thomas's wet dream to invalidate the Voting Rights Act. Black people have no idea how devastating this decision could be. And these Supreme Court justices are literally lining it up.
I think that for all of the conversations that Gavin Newsom and others are having on podcasts, if you can't get down here and illuminate the issue that is taking place in Louisiana that will uproot everything that we fundamentally understand in this country to exist as normal, I think that it's smoke and mirrors. It's all hogwash. Here's the other thing. You are letting people from the 50th ranked state in the nation run the gamut on you. We are letting people who come from the place that ranks dead last in almost every major category that this country values as the future or prosperity, we are last at it. We are last in the environmental quality. We are last in the economy. We are last in crime. We rank last. We are at almost the bottom in education and healthcare. When you look at the results of the leadership of this place, and Mike Johnson is number 1 in the House of Representatives, and his henchmen are in this state unraveling a case that could uproot everything we know, every piece of leadership of the Democratic Party should have touched ground in the state of Louisiana immediately. This should not get to an October 15th court case before every eye in the country is paying attention to what's happening here, because if you don't, it's going to be knocking on your door very, very soon.
I want to bring in my panel, opportunity for them to ask you Some questions, Gary. Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service out of D.C. Dr. Greg Carter, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University. Out of D.C., Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show. Sirius XM Radio out of D.C. Reese, you first.
Thank you, Gary, for constantly, obviously, putting Louisiana in the spotlight. I would like you to talk a little bit more about the return on investment in terms of how you said how cheap it would be to actually activate people. One of the things we always talk about is that if we just voted our capacity or even a higher proportion of our capacity, we can see those results. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that return and what's stopping people from making the investment?
So that's a phenomenal question, Reese. When you look at, for instance, when I ran in 2022, I think we spent about $5 to $7 a vote to beat the Democrat that was in the race against us. He raised, I think it was $3 million, which he spent about $9 to $10 a vote. To compare, Raphael Warnock spent about $100 a vote. In other states, they spent over $40 or $50 a vote. John Kennedy spent over $50 a vote to win the U.S. Senate race in Louisiana. Why does that matter? Because when you look at Louisiana, if there was a real investment between Luke Mixon and myself, there wasn't even a $5 million investment in the candidates that were running statewide. But were able to generate $5 to $6 a vote. That tells me that if the Democratic Party took some of the dollars that they were investing in some of the places that they lost or in candidates that are not as impactful, they would get more of a harvest in Louisiana, more of a harvest in Mississippi for the dollars that they invest because the dollars go further. I know Rollers from Texas, but even in Texas, what you're going to spend on a vote in Texas and how many votes you have to turn in Texas, you need to turn over 5 million voters in Texas to win a statewide election. In Louisiana, you need to turn over anywhere from 500 to 900,000 voters. So if I need to turn over 500 to 900,000 voters, and it may cost me $7 a vote on the low end to turn that voter out, what if I spent $50 a vote in Louisiana?
We call that we call that basic math. Nola?
Mm-hmm. Gary, thank you so much for the work that you are always doing in our home state. My question is, Roland showed the Black male leaders in Louisiana and then the rest of the 16 other Black leaders in Louisiana. What needs to happen on the ground that isn't happening right now for people to understand what's at stake? Because it just can't be you. You are amazing, but it just cannot be you.
I want to be clear that when I ran for the Senate in 2022, it was Black leaders within the Democratic Party that helped take that endorsement away from me. So some of those same people still exist within the Democratic Party. You could look at one of the only Black women in the state Senate, Senator Katrina Jackson from North Louisiana. She was just in a picture praising Bill Cassidy the other day. Bill Cassidy's about to run for the U.S. Senate race next year. We shouldn't have a single Democrat taking a picture standing up praising Bill Cassidy. When you got people within the state Senate that represent you, that are willing to compromise, when you got leaders who find that if I can get a little bit out of him, it doesn't matter because I'm able to at least help my people in this climate. How are you helping your people if they're stripping away every single thing that your people are fight for the history of this country? It's not, it is literally working against our best interest. And when you say those things, now I'm against you or I'm attacking you. No, these are facts and these things harm our potential as Black people. They harm our effectiveness as Black people. And until we as voters decide that some of these people cannot continue to represent us in the leadership of the party and that some of these people cannot continue to represent us in our state legislature, we are fighting a losing battle when we put compromising people in positions of power. Now, you may think that I'm too doggish or that I'm too bombastic, but the people who are against you are very doggish and very bombastic, and they are at war with you, and you're sitting there playing like you're at church on Sunday.
Greg.
Thank you, Roland. And Brother Gary, it's always good to hear your voice and to be able to learn and listen as you work. I quote you all the time, brother, when you say the South's not red, it's just underorganized. And I want to ask you, when you talk about bandwidth plus platform, and the other element, study and analysis, I think is important. And you've demonstrated that to us. And when you put that together with a force of personality, I think it leads to why you are who you are. I want to ask you about the possibilities of withdrawing our participation. And I'm not just talking about politically. I mean, we got these establishment folk, and then you got organic folk who kind of coming up from wherever we are. Do you imagine that there will be a tipping point, not necessarily in electoral politics, but in the behavior of the people who don't participate at all? I'm imagining perhaps some young woman or young man who will decide not to dribble a ball for LSU on the basketball court or the football. And then, could we tap into those unengaged folk? Not the people who don't vote, the people who make the majority in places like Louisiana. What's our strategy for maybe even going beyond party politics at this point? And instead of just being within that framework of the Democratic Republican Party, just continuing to follow your lead in engaging those folks who will become engaged and politically active, who don't care about the political labels of Democrat or Republican, but are looking to acquire power. How do we go about that, brother? What's the message for those folks?
It's always good to talk to you, Doc, and I owe you a call.
No. I was looking for your number. I couldn't find it, man. So Roland will get you. We're going to talk, brother. We got to get to DC.
I got you.
So I really feel, I was in Vacherie, Louisiana last week with Sarita Stibe and Emil Washington and Will Sutton, good black folk who just trying to help black people. Vacherie is in St. James Parish. St. James is a majority black parish with one black elected official parish-wide. We didn't go in with the Democratic Party. We didn't go in there talking no Democrat Party stuff. We went in there talking to black people about their power and what they can do to mobilize and energize the 4,000 black folks who are not voting in St. James Parish. There are 64 parishes in Louisiana. We got black folks in every one of them. If we go have conversations with those people and inform them of their power, then we can unlock those people. I think that there are some people in power who don't go talk to those people, because if those people showed up to vote, some of those people would not be in power. We are of the belief that all of the people that we elect want all of the people to vote. The reality is that the people that we elect only want the people to vote that are going to vote for them. And if they think that your cousin that's at the house is potentially a cousin that's a little more rambunctious and might send them home, they're not trying to send a mail piece to that person. They don't want that person registered to vote. And we are the ones who have the belief that those people are mobilizing those people. When if you aren't knocking those doors, it's not naive that though, it's not lost on me that every time I go into those communities, there's a black person that stands up in the room and says that they hadn't heard from their elected official. That's intentional. They don't want you to hear from them until it's time to re-elect them and tell you whatever they wanted you to believe. And it's on us to get in these communities and tell black people what their power is, because most black people don't even know in these communities that if there were 1,500 more of us that showed up, that we would have a deciding outcome that changed the economic future of these communities. Because you go from a black community where some black people are getting less than 1 or 2% of contracts in those communities to a community where black people can get contracting opportunities, where black people can get those jobs, where they could work at the clerk of court's office or the mayor's office or the constable's office or the tax assessor's office or the coroner's office. Because every last one of those things touches black people's lives. And if you are paying into a tax system, then you ought to be able to reap the benefits, whether it's a job, a contract, or the benefit that the government owes you in the service.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And this is why I make the point. See, this is where people, I think, Gary, get confused. When I hear these simple Simons who go, "Oh man, you shilling for the Democratic Party." No, I understand party. I understand infrastructure. And what I am saying is, first of all, we have a two-party system. Now, there are elections in this country that are nonpartisan. So the issue is not Democrat, Republican. The issue is, which pathway, which tunnel am I more likely going to be able to get what I need for my community? If I got those two choices, it ain't going to be the Republican Party, which means to the black people who are simple Simons, my point is, if we maximize our power, we could be electing different people to office who will be running as a Democrat. That's not supporting the Democrats. That's supporting black folks who will advocate for black folks using the existing party system.
Roland, I have never run for office where over 50% of the people showed up to vote. So when we have a conversation about the output or the return on investment, you got to put something in to get something out the pot.
Boom.
And if you're not satisfied with the people that you got, then more people need to show up in a deliberate and intentional way to replace those people.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I say it all the time. There's a thing called primaries. It's a thing called primaries. You can vote somebody out, they can lose the primary. Now, you may see what happened in Buffalo when the sister who was a socialist ran against the incumbent mayor, beat him, then he ran as a write-in candidate and beat her in the primary. You see what's happening right now in New York with Mamdani, but the bottom line is that's why there is a primary system. The person who's likely to get more votes in the primary, hey, that person is likely, if it's heavily Democratic, to be the winner in a general. But you can't do nothing if you don't run, and then if you can't do nothing if you don't vote.
You know, Roland, my dad is a sports fan, and he likes football. And he always says that the refs cheat on Scotlandville High School when they play in the football game. But he has a simple analogy that he always says. If you run the score up, it doesn't matter what the refs do, they can't beat you. And so no matter how many times we have an opportunity to go vote, we should show up and we should run the score up. No matter how much they are going to cheat and play against us, every election, school board, clerk of court, constable, judges, district attorney, senators, every level show up in every one and run the score up. There's a story about Bobby Kennedy when he ran for the presidency that in Watts in LA, that in Watts that the box they called in because the box was blacked out, meaning every voter that could vote showed up to vote. We need to be willing to show up in a way to do monumental turnout in elections to show that we reject these things, because the only way that we can give ourselves the power to fight against this is delegating our authority to new leaders that believe in the same ideals that we do. These things didn't just happen and get created for us. There was a generation that believed that they could do something about the things that they saw. We need a generation that believes that they can do something about the things that we see today.
And I'm going to remind our viewers again. In 2008, that was the first time in American history where a larger percentage of black people voted than white people in this country. And that's how Obama was elected president. And then what I always say, just like I tell all of 250,000 who watched us on March 4th, where y'all go? Because we been here every night. Once you show me once you can do it, that means you can do it again if you want to.
That's right. That's right.
Gary, keep up the fight. We'll keep talking about this very issue because it is an important one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you as always, Roland.
Going to a break. I'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, we talk about the principles of mindset, strategy, and execution. This week, we're adding a fourth, faith. You're going to hear from a mother and daughter duo who are helping thousands of Black women build wealth, all through their faith.
You are more than you can ever imagine. Not just obtaining things to show that, but seeing yourself.
Making your faith work for you. That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
This is Tamala Mann.
And this is David Mann. And you're watching Roland Martin
Unfiltered.
A Democratic member of the Surface Transportation Board, I have no idea what the hell that is Donald Trump's latest victim in his firing spree. Trump fired Robert Primus, one of the 2 Democratic members on the board. He was the only board member who opposed Canadian Pacific's acquisition of Kansas City Southern Railroad when it was approved 2 years ago, as he was concerned it would harm competition. He explained his position on CNBC.
The country. So the big thing hanging over this entire board right now is this proposed $85 billion merger between Norfolk Southern and Union Pacific. What have you said publicly about where you stand on that merger?
Well, I've said nothing publicly because as a board member, we're not supposed to. I have said in the past, and my record has reflected in my vote against the CPKC merger, that I'm very concerned with further consolidation and what that does to competition, how that affects shippers, how that affects rates, how it affects the overall public in terms of passing along those increased rates into consumer products and people paying more for those products overall. I'm worried about the service problems that tend to happen after mergers. We've had numerous meltdowns over the decades, and the American consumer, as well as the manufacturing base and production base in this country, has suffered. We've lost millions of dollars in production costs, and we've had increased consumer costs as a result of that. So
Robert,
those are all
let's just be real clear what we're dealing with here, Nola. Donald Trump, whoever hooks him up with a payoff, they're going to get hooked up. And what you are seeing here is they want to hook up anybody and everybody. And if you even express an interest against a merger, you're a goner. The raping and pillaging of this country is happening before our very eyes. And what is confusing are these crazy-ass, broke white MAGA folk who actually think this man give a damn about them.
Well, the conditioning is deep, right? We've talked many times about the cult-like reverence for this man. He can do whatever he wants. I was coming at some people earlier today, reminding them of a Qatari plane that the president of the United States have, and they're worried about influencers getting paid. Talk about being distracted from what's important here. But regarding this particular story, I know what it feels like to be a board member and not to be able to speak out about things, right? Especially when you see things that you don't necessarily believe in. And especially with this petty president who puts vindictiveness first, who I hope everyone understands. We are no longer tiptoeing towards authoritarianism. We are here. I hope everyone understands that quite clearly, that if there's a whiff, of going against him, then you are automatically an enemy. And he has a lot of minions to support and carry out those very vindictive orders. And we're in a very dangerous place. I'm not about to sugarcoat it. And that story with Gary Chambers, literally my blood is boiling because we are at such a tipping point in this country right now, Roland. And this president, morality does not exist. It is gone. They laugh at it. So I guess I'm just over here just trying to figure out, what do we do, with that type of personality sitting at the top?
I made this point, Greg, in that I don't think people really truly get it. And I think that this is actually, in many ways, Democrats' biggest problem. And that is, people believe, if you step back and study this republic, where Republicans want to be a theocracy and not a democracy, that they actually believed that the white founders put in guardrails, that they and they always talk about this, that they created this system that that the system would protect itself, that by creating the legislative, the executive, and the judicial, that these are three co-equal branches of government. And then whatever powers are not enumerated in the United States Constitution, those are states' rights. If it's in the Constitution, those are federal rights. And they believe that when the legislative went too far, the executive could rein them in. When the executive too far, the legislative could rein them in. And when the executive and the legislative went too far, that the judicial could rein them in. But here's the problem. They ain't nothing over the judicial. So what then happens when the judicial lines up ideologically with the legislative, and the legislative is operating in the fealty position to the executive? And then comes along someone who is unlike the previous 45 or whatever number. So the system was built in that the person who the people entrusted with the office, that this person would bring a sense of honor, decency, respect, morals, values, ethics to the position. And that person would take a position and say, no, I can't do that. That's going too far because there are rules. What this system never anticipated, to some degree, some people in the Federalist Papers did think it would happen. The system never, ever thought that you would get somebody who is so immoral, so unethical, so evil, that there is no bottom. Someone who would reduce his own party into a rubber stamp. And by having all the power, this person says, and he said it earlier this week, I can do whatever I want as president. If Biden, Obama, Bush 1, Bush 2, Clinton, Reagan, Carter, Johnson, Kennedy, Truman, Eisenhower, Truman, FDR, Wilson. I mean, we go on. If any of them had ever uttered those words, oh my God. And then, I'm sorry, there's legislative, executive, judicial, and then there's the fourth estate. Mm-hmm. But we're now living in a moment where the legislative is kissing his ass, the judicial is rubber stamping him, the media is scared to death because the people with fuck you money are literally afraid to say it. And so he's sitting there saying, I got everybody where I need them, and I am about to pimp the hell out of this office. That's literally where we are.
It is. And you've injected in that analysis, in that narrative, the wild card. You're right. Washington, Madison, Adams, Jefferson, none of them could have imagined a Donald Trump. Let me take that back. Jefferson, I think, more than the others, maybe Madison, between Madison and Jefferson could have imagined, because they both understood that the Constitution that they ratified was a living document that would have to be periodically renegotiated. They wrote that way, certainly Jefferson. I'm very excited right now about where we are in this country, because it's never been a nation, and it was going to always have to be renegotiated. The last chance that this funky criminal enterprise had to come together in a different way was really the Reconstruction era, as we've talked about many times, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. Ketanji Brown Jackson understands that plainly, as does Sonia Sotomayor. But that having been said, I thought you were going somewhere else for a moment there, brother, going back to something that you bring up many times. What they could not have foreseen, and Du Bois makes this point in his suppression of the African slave trade to the United States of America in 1896, what they could not ever have foreseen was us. They kicked the can down the road with the federal constitution. They did not solve the problem of captivity, of human trafficking, which meant 2 generations later, the country almost came apart and hundreds of thousands of lives were ended. The Civil War. Du Bois says that. If they had handled it at the time, then it wouldn't have been a civil war, but that would have meant including us in the criminal enterprise, and that presents its own problems. So 100 years later, the next best chance after Reconstruction, the period of the 1950s and 60s that we call the Civil Rights Movement, was the second best chance for them to handle it. But these white supremacists can't give up the thing that keeps this country together, and that's white nationalism. Donald Trump does what he does because he's a white man. Donald Trump this week behaved like an open socialist, nationalizing 10% of Intel. If Obama had even breathed that possibility, you're a socialist, you're a communist, you can't take over. But white supremacy is not capitalist, is not socialist, it's white supremacist. And I think that if George Bush had tried to do the same thing, or Ronald Reagan had tried to do the same thing, they would have been able to get away with it. Maybe not as easily as Trump, because Trump is a naked white nationalist, unlike those others who tried to peddle soft white nationalism. Where am I going with this? The beautiful thing about this moment, is they have caught the car, and history will show us, are overextending the possibility of their reach. Last night, my law students, we were talking about the Federalist Papers, and it's interesting you mentioned the Federalist Papers. In Federalist 54, I think it is, or maybe it's 55, was John Jay or Hamilton, they were saying that the Native Americans are attached to the land. The Negroes are attached to us. What does that mean? That means that the Constitution, which is basically a contract document until you put the Bill of Rights in, the Constitution was really about commerce and protecting the landed class. It was never supposed to include the indigenous. It was never supposed to include us, and it was never supposed to include women. Now everybody's in play. Everybody's in the table. These Europeans can count. And so this document, Project 2025, an open white nationalist document, chapter 19, Department of Transportation, Diana Ferhat Roth. What we saw happen today with that brother Robert Primus is because what they want to do is privatize everything, get their grummy paws on it. But in doing that, here's the solution. We heard from Gary Chambers. What you laid out, executive, judiciary, and the legislative are now all on the same white nationalist page for however long they can maintain that, which may not be long at all, depending on the midterms. But the power, as you said, Roland, the Constitution says all things not explicitly delegated to the federal government belong to the states. What we're seeing in Illinois, what we're seeing in California, what we're seeing in Maryland, what we'll increasingly see in these other states, maybe Michigan, maybe Jersey, are going to be a civil war. I'm not talking about a shooting war. I'm talking about a political war. The states that control billions of dollars of ability to do trade, even with overseas entities, as we will see in California, they are going to break the back of the United States of America as it's presently constituted. And when they do that, it's not going to be put together the way it was before. California and New York, maybe we'll trade with India. Because India today, when Trump said, hey, 50% tariff, they was like, go to hell. We can sell our oil, we can get that Russian oil, and we're going to sell other stuff other places. The world is working on a workaround now to the United States of America. When this thing fractures, that's going to be our best opportunity. It wasn't Reconstruction, wasn't the Civil Rights Movement. Now we're in a position, we're going to renegotiate the terms of this if we can get our act together. That's going to involve some solidarity politics, but that's a conversation for another day.
As we look at this, and I've said this consistently, Reese, it can't happen until there is maximum pain. And the maximum pain, not Latinos now feeling as if they got double-crossed, not Black folks saying, hashtag, we tried to tell you. But the reality is this here. This is going to have to be a moment where, and I am not remotely sold on this, but this is going to have to be the moment where these broke-ass white people and these so-called independents and these other so-called white marginalized people, which is an oxymoron, wake up and realize you got played. You had somebody who is a robber baron who played you like he is a populist. You've got J.D. Vance, Hillbilly Elegy, whatever the hell book he wrote, being supported by a multi-billionaire white South African.
That's right.
And so that is the only way. What Greg is talking about is going to require some white, if we really want to go back to Reconstruction, some white radical Republicans.
No question.
To wake up and realize, damn, our asses have been played for the last 50 years, and them damn black folks were right as hell. So we need to listen to them to take this over. Otherwise, they just gonna keep believing, you penalize them, and we good, because you talking to them. That's the only way I see this thing changing.
Yeah, everybody's going to get their N-word wake-up call because Project 2025 is leaving no stone unturned. And we are seeing them with warp speed implement these policies that are about pruning the population, that are about re-engineering society, pathways to the middle class and upper class. Everybody think they're going to be the next Donald Trump billionaire, and he barely is a billionaire if he wasn't robbing and stealing. And so, yes, a lot of people are going to get their wake-up call. But to your point, Roland, a lot of people feel very, very comfortable right now with the idea that it's just going to hit them over there. You know, Donald Trump is for you, Kamala's for they, them. Well, all of us are the they, them, and Donald Trump's motherfucking America if you're not a billionaire. And so it's gonna take more pain. Apparently, COVID was enough because I guess everybody forgot about 1 million dead Americans when Donald Trump botched the pandemic. 400,000 businesses lost, millions of people's jobs lost. You couldn't go visit your granny at the nursing home. Everybody was Skyping and shit to have birthday parties and baby showers and canceling weddings. Apparently that wasn't enough pain. We got to
and not only that, didn't penalize the dumbass who botched it.
Oh no.
And wait a minute, and then blame the dude who had to clean it up to say why you didn't clean it up faster.
Well, yeah. Well, they didn't run against Donald Trump fucked up the pandemic. They ran against save democracy, which nobody even really give a damn about like that. That was just a failing, stupid ass slogan. Nobody cares. Like, it was not a big deal. The vote will matter to who people sure, but outside of them, that ain't enough of them. But, you know, the messed up part about this is at least with the pandemic, the cavalry came in. At least with the pandemic, you had Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. So people got some checks. They got their stimmies that they were still giving Donald Trump credit for 4 years later. You know, they got unemployment insurance. They weren't getting kicked out of their homes. Everything was laid out to try to give the American people a soft landing in a global pandemic. Now what we got in office with Project 2025 is a boot up the ass, okay? You're going to lose your food stamps. You're going to lose your jobs. You're going to be paying triple, quadruple for your student loans. Everybody who today's a good day to cancel student debt. You're going to lose your health insurance. Your rural hospitals are going to close down. And then guess what? You're going to have to deal with the military walking around your neighborhoods with rifles and shit. This is about to be a military occupation because they know they're about to rob this country blind. And they know that when people are desperate, that calls for desperate measures. So all of this is going according to their plan. And all of the people who voted for Donald Trump or did not vote, in spite of the threat that Donald Trump clearly faced, you asked for this.
It's a whole lot to have to factor in. And Nola, I keep saying it, and people can say, oh man, you know, you keep bringing this up, you keep talking about this, you keep that. But I don't care what anybody says. Literally the only way this thing changes outside of a physical civil war is a war at the ballot box. We just saw in Iowa 2 nights ago, a state Senate seat, Trump won 11%. That sucker flipped 20 points. But what does that mean? We saw this with Mamdani winning the primary. But what it requires, Nola, it literally requires a new type of candidate who, frankly, listened to Joe Madison. You gotta put it where the ghosts can get it. You gotta talk to people in a way where they understand an affordability issues, and you ain't talking about, no disrespect to everybody on here with a PhD, stop having fucking PhD conversations and have PhD conversations with regular ordinary people, and do what Ella Baker told the SNCC people. Take your college clothes off, put your overalls on, and go to them sharecroppers. Trust me, they might have a 2nd or 3rd grade education, but they smart as hell. That, to me, there has to be a massive uprising of those type of candidates to flip this, and it can happen, but it has to be mobilized and organized.
Y'all saw it, saying that like 53% of Republicans support a 3rd Trump term limit. So the thing that I think about, Roland, I agree with everything you just said. We need to get to 26 first. And once we get there, we don't know what kind of shenanigans is going to be in store, because we know the Dems are going to sweep. We know that. The Dems are going to make gains. That will happen. But again, we need to get to 26. And what I'm interested in hearing is, what is that plan, right? How are we going to motivate people to get up and vote? How are we going to motivate people to understand what the next steps to this is? Because there are still too many people out there, for my taste, that still kind of believe, oh, maybe something will happen where it'll go back to normal, or maybe, you know, some magical thing will happen. And this is where that Southern Democratic strategy needs to come into place. And yes, I agree with you. You need to talk to everybody, meet them where they are. I had a conversation with Dr. Annie Andrews today, who's running for Lindsey Graham's seat. And I asked her straight up, I said, you know, what is your ground game? How are you engaging Black folks in South Carolina? Have you been on Roland Martin's show yet? And she said, no, I would love to. I was like, you need to make that happen right away. So this is about really, you know, drilling down on the base and getting people motivated. That is the word here, getting people motivated to get up to vote, because too many people are not understanding what's at stake. And God forbid you are watching Fox News every day. They're not tuned into these conversations. So it needs to be a multifaceted strategy, and the South needs to be in play, period.
In here, the point that Nola just made, Greg, here's a perfect example. Nola said 26. No, we got 25 elections. And so, like, perfect example. Let me find this piece. I was sent it the other day. You have a governor's race in New Jersey, and you've got a candidate, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. And this is the political story. Mikey Sherrill could lose New Jersey if Dems don't win back Black and Hispanic voters. And it says a political analysis of election results shows a path for GOP nominee Jack Ciattarelli, and it runs through the places Sherrill was weakest in the primary. Okay, so she was real weak in Black and Hispanic. Now, you had, of course, Ross Baraka running. You had other candidates. Exactly. You had other candidates running. But here's the problem. It's right here. In majority Black municipalities, for example, Sherrill won just 16% of the Democratic primary vote compared to 34% nationwide. Now, as she races to expand her support beyond her winning primary coalition, she's competing against Ciattarelli for some of the same voters. Okay, so that's what the article says. Now, I've gotten multiple calls from people Now, 8 days ago, here's a poll that says she leads by 9 points among likely voters. Well, that's likely voters, okay? Now, I got a phone call the other day from some folks who are worried as hell that she ain't out here competing for black votes. Matter of fact, there was someone in Georgia. Let me find the article. They put an article in USA Today saying that they don't necessarily care for her. And this right here, this guy Oscar J. Give me 1 second. Let me close this out. This guy says, I'm a black New Jersey Democrat. This is why I can't support Mikey Sherrill for governor. And I'm a black man, a Democrat, and the youngest person ever elected to the Newark City Council, small business owner and entrepreneur dedicated to rebuilding urban communities across the country. I stay active in every political cycle, and I'm a known and trusted neighborhood organizer within the city where I was born and raised. I've been trying to find a rationale to vote for Mikey Sherrill, and frankly, as an African American, I just can't do it, and neither can many blacks in New Jersey. And you go on, you can read the piece here. I see Reese with a face right here. Lisa, So as most blacks in New Jersey know, Sherrill has always had a difficult time communicating and integrating within our community. Perhaps it has not been reported, but that is the truth. During the primary, we witnessed examples that continue to give us great pause. Her cringe-worthy performance on The Breakfast Club, her foolish attacks against Ras Baraka, the decision to hire only a few people of color on her campaign team, and even her choice for lieutenant governor, who's African American, who many in our neighborhoods honestly do not know. For many blacks, each issue is deeply concerning and defines a pattern that has created a real uphill challenge for Mikey's campaign in November. Okay, so you got New Jersey race, that's in New Jersey. You've got here in Virginia, the House, Senate up for grabs. You got Spanberger running for Virginia Lieutenant Governor against a black candidate, Republican Winsome Sears, MAGA. And here's the thing, Spanberger ain't she about as exciting as drywall paint. Okay, it's not like she's out here actually. I mean, she posted a video of her going to black churches. They deleted it, but the whole point here is
deleted it.
Yeah, the whole point here is you gotta actually have people who are willing to talk to the base. So before you can get to 26. You got to deal with 25. 25 is the setup to 26. And again, these white Democrats and these white Democratic strategists are playing the same dumbass games. And they're going to learn a hard lesson in 2026 if they don't truly change.
That's true. Roland, it's interesting the two sources that you kind of walked through there. One, Politico. The other, USA Today. These are, I guess they may be described as center-right publications, but the commercial mass news entertainment media is utterly worthless when it comes to political analysis. I'm saying that again, underscoring the central importance of Black Star Network in this, because these are the complicated conversations that they simply cannot have. You know, I was watching, one of your colleagues and comrades, Mehdi Hassan. And it's interesting how he jacked Unfiltered, right? Mehdi Hassan Unfiltered. I'm like, Mehdi, okay, I see you, brother, I see you. But Zateo, when he started, Zateo, again, following your lead, Black Star Network. And again, these people start doing this now, they get put out, and now they doing their thing, which they should have been doing at the beginning. But he makes a very important point. Corporate media can't tell the stories because they are looking at their profit margin, they're beholden to their shareholders. In both those stories, what you see is a misrepresentation of what's going on the ground. The interesting quote in that Politico article, I think it came from Antoinette Miles and the Working Families Party. Maurice Mo Mitchell, who went to Howard, one of my former students, he really centered in New York. We see them involved in the Mamdani campaign. You said something, all of this is important, Roland, but you elevated something again, underscore. This is a two-party system in this country. African people and those who are trying to work on the behalf of everyone use the Democratic Party as a delivery system. We're not Democrats. We use it as a delivery system because the other party has been wholly captured by the white nationalists. That's an inversion of the mid-19th century, as you say, when you had people like Charles Sumner in the Republican Party, or even the 1960s, where you had, for every racist like Russell coming out of Georgia, you had people like Everett Dirksen and them out of Illinois. You might be able to use the Republican Party as a delivery system. That having been said, what happened in Iowa with Caitlin Dre is more reliable as a barometer of where we are in this country than anything's going to be in political and I think about Richard Pryor saying, don't you love when they find a Negro that they hire? That Negro tell me I'm in Newark and I can't vote for. Ask USA Today, their job is to engender some notion that it's black people not going to vote. Now, we're very clear. The reason that white woman didn't perform well in Jersey and black communities is what you said, Rass was running. Now, the idea that that's going to linger over into a general election, we would rather stay at home or vote for Republican than this white woman who is clearly not someone that we support 100%. That's absurd. It's just like Spamberger in Virginia. Now, I said all that as a backdrop and a prelude to this finally. The electoral politics that we're engaged in now are seeing a sliver of white people, more than a sliver, maybe a plurality, who are terrified now. These are the white people in Flyover America whose NPR station now getting shut down because these white nationalists snatched them $3 and trying to figure out a way to steer it into the Trump corporation's pockets. These are the white people in places like Iowa who voted for Caitlin Dre and flipped what was a double-digit Trump victory district during the election to a double-digit Dre victory in the general election. And these are the black people who, as Gary Chambers said, if you can energize them, like you said, I think half the state of Alabama had mayoral elections on Tuesday. When we saw our frat brother, when we saw the mayor of Birmingham, Randall Wolfen, reelected with about 10% of the eligible voters in Birmingham voting for him, because that's about the percentage of eligible voters that turned out in the election, what we are looking at is people who, if you tap into those people, will render all these bullshit stories irrelevant. That's why the line from the Working Families Party representative in that political story is important. She spoke to a united front. The united front doesn't look at Democrat and Republican. It looks at, can you vote your interest? And that's why Black Star Network is important, because you're talking about organizing, brother, and that will render all them corporate stories irrelevant. Right. They're looking for horse races.
But what it requires, though, Reese, it requires a Mikey Sherrill to bring her ass to places like this. It requires an Abigail Spanberger to come here. And again, I'm not saying only come here. I'm saying if you have any sense whatsoever, and I'm not just talking about candidates showing up, I'm also talking about how you spend money. The ecosystem is sitting right in front of you. So it's this show, it's Reese's show on Sirius XM, it's Clay Kane. You've got, and again, and nothing against them, but y'all, everybody don't listen to the Breakfast Club, and it don't mean that everybody listen to the Breakfast Club actually vote.
That's right.
Now see, we know how white media operates, where they only look for one person to be, the spokesman for black people to say, well, what do black people think? So let's call Charlemagne. But the reality is, and again, I'm not hating on Charlemagne, but
the political maverick.
But I know how white media works, because I saw it. I was at CNN. I was kind of like, hey, there's some other black people y'all might want to call to round this thing out. But we have to understand how these people operate. And so the smart play is, I need to be sitting here, and again, if I'm a Mikey Sherrill, I'm going to hire some black people and say, yo, you need to be on Ricky Smiley's show, D.L. Hughley's show. There's syndicated radio shows. You have key black digital shows, key podcasts, all of that.
That's right.
But it's called a strategy. Now, while I'm also articulating that strategy also goes for the interviews, but it also goes for the ad dollars. But the same strategy also goes for black people who are trying to do things and move us as a collective and not run and give story. I forgot what was that. It was some story that happened it was recent. I saw this, but it reminded me of, I remember when Campaign Zero had launched an initiative, and they gave the exclusive reach to the New York Times. And Reese, when I say I cussed they asses out, I was channeling my man George Curry when he used to cuss out the National Urban League, who would always give the exclusive to their State of Black America report to Associated Press, and then come talk to NNPA. And they had an embargo, and then George got tired of that, so he just broke the embargo, told him to go to hell. But the thing is you have to understand that the ecosystem we're living in now, you just can't run an MSNBC and CNN. You have to create a concerted media strategy that's reaching multiple voices to get the audience to turn out. That's all a part of it. And frankly, some of these Democratic folk still ain't got the message because they still running that old bullshit game.
That's true. I mean, on the one hand, I want to tell Black people, grow the fuck up. It's going to be a white nationalist lunatic or these lame-ass white ladies who don't really fuck with the Blacks like that. They ain't got Black people on their staff. They ain't coming to our neighborhoods, aside from church 2 weeks before the election. But this is the situation that we find ourselves in because Black people didn't come out and vote like they needed to for Ross Baraka. And so you got the white lady and these white ladies, they was on the New York Times covers, and they're the cavalry. They're the new alpha Democrats. Who else was the other one they have? Elise Stefanik or whoever Child, white women are not going to save the Democratic Party, but I would like to see y'all try in 2025. Let's run this little experiment where y'all save the Democratic Party. Let's see a little bit of that action. But until then, Black people will try to understand the assignment. But what Democrats need to understand is that a lot of Black people are choosing the couch. And Black people have been underinvested, as Gary Chambers led off the show talking about, and they've been undercultivated and taken for granted. And as much as we can sit up here and beg and plead and connect the dots for people as to why it is so important that we activate our capacity, we ain't picking prom dates. This isn't Love Island. It's not America's Favorite Couple. We are picking people who are the least disruptive, the least obstructive to our humanity and our citizenship. But when people are disillusioned and disaffected, they ain't really trying to hear what we got to say. They want to hear from your ass directly. And unfortunately, the clock is ticking, boo, because you won this nomination how many months ago? Where you at? Bring your ass. And if you awkward, okay, that's fine. Come back again and try to, make people forget about the last time you were awkward. They got to get comfortable with Black voters because I am very skeptical that white folks is going to save the day in 2025. Hopefully, they'll save the day in 2026. But right now, when I'm saying, I ain't seeing it yet. So,
and again, it all depends upon the locale because, listen, it ain't that many of us in Iowa. So we gonna need
no, it's not.
Right.
It's
so,
not.
but the point is, depending upon where you are. So where it's a whole lot of y'all white people, I'm gonna need y'all to truly be woke and wake the hell up and realize what's going on. But the bottom line is, but where there are places where our vote matters, then we have got to maximize the hell of our vote. That's what has to happen. That's right. And it can't happen any other way. All right, let me go to a quick break. We come back. Donald Trump, y'all know he can't stand Black women. And Lord, this sister, she done fired back on the Federal Reserve. Lisa Cook, she done fired back at this punk ass. I'll tell you all about it. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to continue the work that we do every single day. We're here 5 days a week. Actually, we're here 7 days a week, live 5 days a week. My show, 4 other shows on the network. You name it, this is what we do. So you want to give us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Use the same QR code for credit card up as well. Checks and money orders. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, and all y'all folks on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of y'all. Why we got 1,100 likes? We should easily be at 2,000 likes. Now, y'all keep running y'all mouths, but y'all ain't clicking that damn like button, okay? So click the like button, all right? Do that. We should be at 1,500 or 2,000 before I come back from this break. Back in a moment.
Next on A Balanced Life, here on Black Star Network, we're talking what it means to be a balanced young adult and turning 21. I know 21 is one of those ages where you think you're grown. You can do whatever you want. The law says that you can. But what are you packing in your 21-year-old toolkit that will allow you to not only survive, but to thrive?
You have every right to make whatever decision that you want to make, okay? Because you're grown. Don't go out here and do something and then want to come back and expect somebody else to clean it up for you.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr, we welcome the Black Star Network's very own Roland Martin, who joins us to talk about his new book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. The book explains so much about what we're going through in this country right now, and how, as white people head toward becoming a racial minority, it's going to get, well, let's just say, even more interesting.
We are going to see more violence. We're going to see more vitriol, because as each day passes, it is a nail in that coffin.
The one and only Roland Martin on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Jamia Pugh. I am from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, just an hour right outside of Philadelphia.
My name is Jasmine Pugh. I'm also from Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook has officially filed a lawsuit against the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon con man-in-chief Donald Trump for his unprecedented and illegal effort to remove her from her position. In the lawsuit, she seeks a legal declaration that Trump's efforts to fire her are, quote, unlawful and void, asserting that she remains an active member of the board. Trump has reportedly sought to oust Cook based on allegations of mortgage fraud. Under the Federal Reserve Act, governors can only be removed for cause which requires proof of misconduct or wrongdoing. In Cook's case, no evidence has been presented. She's made history as the first black woman to serve on the board of the world's most influential central bank, which plays a crucial role in setting U.S. interest rates. But she didn't just sue Trump. She also sued the Federal Reserve, including Chair Jerome Powell as well. Reese, what do you make of this?
Well, what I make of it is that Donald Trump has figured out that attacking black women is the quickest way to amass power without pushback. Of course, black women ain't going down without a fight. But the rest of the country, where is the reaction? When Donald Trump is threatening Jerome Powell, the markets reacted, and then Donald Trump was like, haha, just kidding. But he's seen time and time again, 300,000 black women have lost their jobs. If we say that we're ending DEI, nobody cares about the fact that he's amassing all of this outsized power over specific jobs in the federal government, which are supposed to be protected from political interference. This is another example where he's playing into the trope of black people, stereotypes that we are corrupt, that we're incompetent. And so then people turn this into whether this is about evidence being presented, whether the charges are true or not, that has nothing to do with it. This is all about Donald Trump trying to interfere with the Fed so that he can get these rock bottom low interest rates, which he's not going to get because the big, beautiful bill explodes the deficit by trillions of dollars. But also, this is about Project 2025. One of the aims of Project 2025 is to eliminate the Federal Reserve. They want to get rid of the Fed altogether. And so when you start deconstructing the Board of Governors and you start with black women, or a black woman specifically, with little to no pushback, then that allows them to further erode the role and the integrity of the Federal Reserve, which, by the way, the charge of the Federal Reserve is full employment and low inflation. We know that the other aim of Project 2025 is to remake society so that there isn't full employment. They want a permanent underclass, and they don't give a damn about how much we're paying. Look at the tariffs. So I wish that people would stop feeling so comfortable with attacks on black women, because the way that he's amassing power coming after black people, he gets to hold on that power. And then when that power is yielded at your white ass, your Asian ass, your Latino ass, then it's going to be a fucking problem. But guess what? By then, it's too damn late.
Nola?
I agree. You know, Reese gave a really good economic analysis, and I'll take it, towards the political science angle in terms of, this is the playbook. you have a group, there's a us versus them dynamic, and then there's a low-hanging fruit dynamic, which to him are Black women. And then, you also have a dynamic where you are making sure that you are inflicting pain. You want to be seen inflicting that pain because you don't want a vibrant, working intellectual class. You don't want people in these jobs to question you, to push back. You want loyalists in these jobs, or you want, like Reese said, you want these agencies to disappear completely, just like with USAID, right? You don't want agencies in place that upset or could possibly disrupt your corrupt agenda. And the one thing that Donald Trump is being effective with is making sure that people understand that he will hurt you. That is very clear. He wants everyone to know that he will hurt you. And by these institutions complying, bending the knee early on, that did not help, right? And to Reese's point, this is how I honestly feel about the whole situation with Black women like me, like Reese. They don't want us in these spaces anyway, to begin with. They don't want the smart Black woman in a room, maybe decoratively, but for us to actually be effective, for us to actually show up and do our jobs, that's not what they want, which is why it was so easy for so many of these countries to say, bye-bye, DEI, bye, y'all. It was a nice little run. See y'all next time when the next trend come around. They didn't want us there in the first place. So these people are being exposed. But my point remains, this is authoritarian 101. And unfortunately, scarily, the next step is something far more dangerous when we are talking about totalitarianism. And that's the stage of this that I am really, really worried about. Because right now, we still have these platforms. There's still some level of freedom of speech, but those rights, they're going to come for those too.
Yeah, what he wants to do, Greg, he wants to clear the field. We see this happen in the Department of Defense, to do whatever he wants because he doesn't want.
They're changing it to the Department of War.
He doesn't want anyone objecting, ignoring orders. This is truly an administration of sycophants, cult followers.
It is. There are a lot of different interests, though, as we see. Trump's interest is like his friend Bibi Netanyahu. I'm trying to stay out of jail. With the added incentive, I'm trying to make all the money in the world. The white nationalist agenda is white nationalism. Remember, Roland, and you'll know this history much better than I do in terms of political side. Remember Eric Cantor in Virginia? Mm-hmm. Remember when they were trying to bail out the banks, and Cantor and his crazy ass people in Congress were taking pride in that they was going to vote against the too big to fail stuff. There's a new article in Mother Jones where the guy kind of walks through that and he says, we are in fascism now. We're past the tipping point. Mm-hmm. And he says, I look at that moment as the moment when we should have realized, there are people in that party who will just watch the world burn. Mm-hmm. So there's that element. There's that element of it. But this is a very interesting thing. First of all, shout out to our sister Cook, because he definitely hates Black women. I mean, and I understand why, because underneath that hatred is desire. But we'll talk about that another day. Maybe we can ask Omarosa to give us a little feeling as to his true feelings deep down in his heart of hearts. But at any rate, that notwithstanding, that's Trump's hang-up. But let's be very clear. The villain of this piece, in many ways, is that nasty piece of work, Russell Vought. Because, see, all this is triggered. This particular case is triggered by one of Vought's boys, Bill Pulte, over there at FHA. He been combing through records, looking at people's mortgages. And so the same thing they tried to hang on Marilyn Mosby, the same thing they tried to hang on Adam Schiff, the same thing they tried to hang on Attorney General Tish James, they trying to hang on Lisa Cook. Because you've been scrubbing through the mortgages, looking if you can get a technicality. Because the Federal Reserve says you can't get her. I think she's confirmed through 2038. The only way you can get rid of a Federal Reserve commissioner is by cause, and she's going to court like You can't show me. I ain't been convicted of no crime. Your little minion over there scrubbing through the mortgages thinks he's got me on something. But if you got me on something other than you sitting up putting something on social media in the middle of the night, sitting on your toilet in public housing at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, charge me with something. Then you might have a point of entry, but you don't. Now, here's where it comes down to. John Boy Roberts. Oh, it is. It's public housing. We paying for it, right? That John Boy Roberts got a problem now. Remember in May, remember that Supreme Court case, Trump versus Wilcox, where another sister, remember they put her off the National Labor Relations Board, she sues, gets to the Supreme Court, and Roberts and them are saying, well, we'll worry about the merits later, but in the interim, we can't reinstate you. But there is one entity. It ain't the National Labor Relations Board. It ain't any of the cabinet level departments. There's one entity that we say that you can't just go in there and do this to because it's too important and it's quasi-private. Remember what John Boy said? It was the Federal Reserve. Now, Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sotomayor and Kagan and like, what the hell are you doing? He can't do it anyway. But, so you're going to carve out a special exemption for the Federal Reserve? The constitutional crisis that Lisa Cook is going to force them to look down in the face is, you're going to choose this white supremacy over any notion of the rule of law? Because out your own mouth, John Boy, you said the Federal Reserve is not one of the entities that you can do this to. I am loving it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they don't have the muscle. No, seriously, they don't have the muscle. They don't have the muscle to pull off what Trump is trying. But while he's trying it, I read an article yesterday, Financial Times, they're saying that perhaps one day we'll look back and they will call Donald Trump the father. He ain't going to win no Nobel Prize, but he might be called the father of the BRICS. Why? Because Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and all them countries that signed up with the BRICS, 50% tariff on India. India's like, we're not giving up this Russian oil, and we got other people that are buying. Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, spent 3 days this week in Brazil because Lula and them are looking at bilateral trade agreements. Donald Trump is doing the world a favor by pulling the United States back from its central place in world economies, and in this crack, the world is moving on. Now, this is to all you ADOS Negroes who love your masters so much. If you Negroes don't wise up and build some solidarity politics with the rest of the world, you know what's going to happen? You're going to burn in hell with the rest of these hillbillies. This is the lesson we need to be learning from this moment.
Well, great to your point, look at Mexico announcing this, go to my iPad, suspending postal shipments to the United States. Japan has suspended postal shipments. So what's about to happen, all these folks who've been ordering stuff from Pinterest and Etsy and other places, DHL suspending. See, again, these folks want to be so nativist, so isolationist, that they don't understand that we literally are living in a global economy. They don't get that. And so it's like, okay, y'all want to sit here? Y'all want to sit in FAFO? Okay, y'all about to find out. And so then, because see, they're so dumb because they walk around like, oh man, Trump is so brilliant. No, he not. He throw the tariff stuff out, causing prices to spike, go crazy, the bond market going nuts. And then they say, man, what you doing? Did he back down? It's all over the place. And he just making this stuff up as he goes along. But again, but again, I keep saying this. We're never going to reach critical mass until enough white people are in pain. So if I see another white person who said, one woman talking about she about to lose her business and her daddy voted for Trump, he been calling the White House and he ain't getting through nobody. So I'm telling y'all, my book is White Fear. This ain't gonna change until we deal with white pain and white tears. We gonna need white. I'm telling y'all, that's why when they passed that big, ugly, nasty, despicable bill, they delayed most of the cuts till after the 2026 election. So like all y'all dumbasses, a whole bunch of y'all dumbasses. Well, look at this here. My tax is going up. No, you stupid ass. That was the Trump tax cuts, and they pushed that stuff to 2023 and 24. That's what happened. But again, excuse me, because I know how to read. some breaking news here. This is from.
Oh God, what?
Yeah, okay, so go to my iPad. This is from NBC News. 3 officers ordered to have new trials in the death of Tyree Nichols, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith were found guilty in a 2024 federal trial. They were acquitted on state counts. A Tennessee federal judge on Thursday ordered new trials for the three cops. Now, here's what's crazy, y'all. In a ruling, U.S. District Judge Cheryl Littman did not find any biased decisions by the federal judge in the 2024 case, as the officers' attorneys argued. But she said new trials were warranted because of an alleged comment the judge made following the trial that the Memphis Police Department was, quote, infiltrated to the top with gang members. The judge, Mark Norris, allegedly made the comment after his law clerk was shot in the chest during a carjacking on October 8th, 2024, 5 days after the federal jury convicted Bean, Haley, and Smith, according to court documents. An assistant U.S. attorney contended that they recall Norris expressed that, quote, he could not meet with any member of the Memphis Police Department to give a statement regarding the shooting of his clerk, as MPD is infiltrated to the top with gang members, according to background of the case cited by Lippman. Lord have mercy. And for all y'all people, and see, let me go back to this point, Reese. Remember how many of these dumbass Simple Simons kept trying to tell us, man, y'all keep making a big ass deal, but all these black federal judges, Biden, Harris appointed, that shit don't mean nothing. Hello. This is a perfect example. Federal judges have unbelievable power, and they matter. And unfortunately, this judge decided to, get his stupidity on, and now they get new trials. And remember, the other cop who didn't plead guilty, they were found not guilty. So these cats could get off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, this is not a problem that this new federal government is trying to solve. Donald Trump, one of the first order of business of his DOJ was to back out of the consent decrees that Kristen Clark and that the Biden-Harris administration got into around the city of Memphis and other cities where we had the racial reckoning around. Donald Trump has pardoned police officers. They now have given the military the ability to carry assault rifles in the streets of D.C. And so Donald Trump ran on indemnity. The federal judiciary, as appointed by Republicans, and even the state judiciary, are all on the same page that cops can act with impunity. Now, if Tyree Nichols was a white man, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They have to be locked up, throw away the key. But as long as violence is being perpetrated against Black people, they got a friend in Jesus with the MAGA Republicans in the legislature and the judiciary, and unfortunately in the White House.
And look, this is what the judge said, Dola, and it's simple. What is required is not only an absence of actual bias, but an absence, go to my iPad, but an absence of even the appearance of judicial bias. The judge wrote that the risk of bias here is too high to be constitutionally tolerable, and that therefore the 3 officers deserve new trials. I mean, we're glad to see that there's a federal judge who has places a high value on integrity, Nola. Unfortunately, we don't see a lot of that with Trump appointees.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. What's so interesting, the through thread through everything that we've been talking about tonight, is how race is manipulated in every single thing that we've talked about tonight, starting with the first story with Louisiana and showing that clip of Landry and how he invoked Martin Luther King. I don't think it was word salad. I think it was intentional. I've seen this up close with Republicans, the way that they will use race, the way that they will say, well, we had the first Secretary of State and we did this and we had this amount of Black people. They will use examples of Black people while at the same time systemically taking things away from us. You know what I'm saying? So it's this interesting game that they play with race. And for me, this goes all the way back to the Bakke case, 1978, UC Regents in Bakke, the way that whiteness was used there. They don't have to say white because they are the status quo. You have to say black and you have to say other because we are trying to say we need representation because we are not the status quo. So I say all that to say that in this particular case, in my personal opinion, Donald Trump is building his own gang, and unfortunately, a lot of them are in law enforcement. And that is very unfortunate. The way that they just reduced the requirements for the FBI, you no longer need to have a college degree. Not to say that a college degree is the end all and be all, but it does offer you some level of analytical skills beyond high school. So he is building a very specific type of army. And wouldn't you feel some sort of, positive way towards an administration that possibly got you off? You know what I'm saying? Because this might have looked very different in another administration. So by doing these sorts of things, you are building a law enforcement, a military that is beholden to King Donald Trump. And that is the real danger that we are facing. It's going to be more cases like this, unfortunately. And like Reese said, when it's black bodies, nobody cares. And I am just really worried about where all of this is going and that gang that he is building to make sure that he never comes out of 1600 Pennsylvania Ave.
Greg, I'm pulling up this story here. Y'all might have remembered seeing this. The black lawyer who was detained in, give me 1 second. WSA and Paul Butler. The black lawyer who was detained in D.C., Paul Butler.
Paul Butler was detained?
1 second. One's just, no, girl, hold on. Woosah, woosah. Woosah, woosah. Here we go. I'm trying to pull this story up here. It's absolutely hilarious story. Paul Bryant, attorney Paul Bryant.
Yes,
listen to this. So listen to this. A magistrate judge released a D.C. attorney and West Point graduate from jail on Thursday, saying the government had as close to zero chance as possible at demonstrating he was a danger to the community. This is perhaps one of the weakest requests for detention I have seen, and something that prior to 2 weeks ago would have been unthinkable in this courthouse. Magistrate Judge Zia Faruqi said. Hold on, I got to read more of this. Faruqi ordered Paul Anthony Bryant, a Columbia Law School alum who deployed to Afghanistan as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army Reserves, released from the D.C. jail on minimal conditions. Bryant will have to surrender any firearms, but was not ordered to hand over his passport. Now, these Trump idiots claim that he threatened a National Guardsman. According to charging documents, a group of Ohio and Delaware National Guardsmen who were patrolling 14th Street Sunday evening reported Bryant approached them and began yelling things including, "These are our streets," and allegedly, "I'll kill you." Before leaving the area, Bryant allegedly threw his left shoulder into one of the guardsmen's shoulders. D.C. police officers arrested Bryant 2 blocks away, and roughly an hour and a half later, early Monday morning. Police found a handgun in Bryant's possession, but determined it was legally registered to him, and he had a valid concealed carry permit. According to charging documents, the gun had 1 round in the chamber. Bryant told police the magazine was located in his car. Now, because National Guard troops patrolling D.C. don't wear body cameras, Bryant's attorney, Assistant Federal Public Defender Alexis Gardner, said there's no video of the alleged interaction. Another attorney who filled in to represent Bryant at Wednesday's hearing said charging documents did not mention that Bryant, who is black, claimed it was members of the Guard who yelled slurs at him. Bryant took the unusual step of speaking out against the charges in court Wednesday. "I would like to say I think this court's decision is disgusting," Bryant said about Harvey's initial rule that he would be temporarily detained. "The allegations against me are baseless. They are hearsay." To charge people for what seemed to be lesser conduct and then say they're so dangerous they have to be locked up, Farouk said, it puts prosecutors in an impossible situation. These people are stupid. They just, and now, Greg, also, they tried to indict the dude who threw the hoagie. He was a Department of Justice employee, and he threw the hoagie at the officer. They tried hard to get a grand jury indictment, and they did the proverbial, you know what black people do?
Yes, sir.
Just right here. You know, whenever somebody... when somebody black do this here, gone. The grand jury literally went, gone. We ain't even doing that. Now they dropped charges. Now he lost his job at the Department of Justice, but the grand jury's like, man, we ain't indicting this man because he threw a salmon. Y'all tripping. Well, what would they say? He was carrying an unconcealed weapon. It was a hoagie.
So ridiculous.
I tell you, Roland, I mean, you know the running joke or the running saying when it comes to prosecutors, that a prosecutor can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. Well, in this case,
not this time.
Not this time. The sandwich won.
I'm sorry. No, you're right. They could indict on a ham sandwich, but not a Philly cheesesteak.
But not a Philly cheesesteak, right? Not a hoagie. Boy, they'll get the Philly cats mad. They'll make a distinction between a cheesesteak and a hoagie in a minute. But 14th and you, I mean, the jokes write themselves, right? First of all, in the real estate violence that has occurred in D.C. over the last 20 years, the idea that there'll be a white man walking down U Street in the middle, I mean, it's just like, wow. And then running in a pink polo, and anyway, the jokes write themselves. But, you know what I'm saying? On U Street, anyway. But what I guess what I'm about to say, though, is that it's 330 million people in this country. What they are trying to do, and again, this is right out the playbook of Stephen Bannon, Russell Vogt, and them, throw everything against the wall and try to get people in a Jedi mind trick to believe you got that kind of muscle. The cosplay in this is so absurd at this point. You know, now you're going to invade Chicago. Now you're going to invade L.A. Well, Brandon Johnson is standing there with the governor of Illinois, and they like, bring it on. Wes Moore's like, I served. Why don't you come up? Let's do a ride along, baby. You want to dance with me? Come on to Baltimore. Brandon Scott, like, I got you. You want a cop car, a truck? Come on up here. They don't have the muscle, friends. What they're trying to do is this kind of cosplay shock and awe. If they wanted to occupy all of this country, they don't have the muscle. However, if we allow them to continue this terrorism, this domestic terrorism, we are going to find ourselves with so much pent-up anger. I was having this conversation with my students this afternoon. On one side, you got these young people who come to Howard, who come to George Washington or Georgetown, who are your students, NOLA, who are my students. They're going to try to stay out of trouble. If they see something go down, they're going to kind of put their head down. Then you go deeper down in the class structure, you got these hood joints who are out here cussing out the police, shoulder to shoulder with some of these white people that Steve Miller mad at because they old, need to take a nap, whatever. They shouting them down. And if we continue to look away, I was at the Martin Luther King Library today. I went down there to pick up something. I went around the corner. There's a Catholic church there. Sometimes I'll go into Catholic church. I'll go into church just to sit down, just to be quiet. I ain't there to pray. I might be reading. I couldn't go into church because it was closed. But what I saw was fresh chains with locks on the steps, because I know the unhoused often sleep there. Churches are now barring the unhoused from being able to sleep on their steps, and that's what they want us to do. They want us to be so afraid of these punk-ass Confederates coming from the Confederate States to walk and stand around at metro stops and at Union Station, and Sean Duffy, ignorant, incompetent ass, want to take over Union Station so you can harass the unhoused. If we allow this cosplay to persist, they're going to run up into some situations that they are absolutely not prepared for. I'm not supporting violence. I'm not saying it should be violent, but I'm saying the people are tired. And if history shows us anything in a country of 330 million people, y'all keep this shit up. Keep it up here.
Well, speaking of running up on some folk, got a little heated at the U.S. Open yesterday when American Taylor Townsend beat that ass of former French Open champion Jelena Ostapenko in straight sets. I mean, she whooped her ass. So this happened after the match was over.
To the finish with a flourish there, and didn't she just do so very well to handle a moment when 5-3 down in the opening set. So this one, no love lost between these two. One thing you know for sure, Taylor Townsend ain't for backing down.
Not at all. You can see that emotion coming out of Taylor there. The entire court on court 11. Taylor egging it on. You love to see that competitive fight. All she's been through.
Well, Townsend later explained the threats Ostapenko made to her.
Taylor, congratulations. Fiery match, start to finish. We'll get to it all. Can you fill us in on the conversation you were having with Jelena out there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's competition. People get upset when they lose, and you can't. Some people say bad things. She told me I have no class, I have no education, and to see what happens when we get outside the U.S. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I beat her in Canada outside the U.S. I beat her in New York outside the U.S. So let's see what else she has to say.
Now, today, Naomi Osaka, she won her match against another sister, and she had a couple things to say. Watch this.
I can't speak on what her intentions were. I can only speak on how I handled the situation and how I.
That was Townsend speaking. I'm going to play that in a second, but I want to hear what Osaka had to say. Listen to this.
Up on that, when a player gets so angry that they would use words like no education and no class to criticize a black player, and when those kind of words have a bad history in this country and kind of unfair, I mean, how do you react to something like that when you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that part, obviously. It's been on the TV like every 15 minutes. I mean, that's really difficult to say. I think, obviously, it's one of the worst things that you can say to a black tennis player in a majority white sport. And granted, I know Taylor and I know how hard she's worked and I know how smart she is, so she's the furthest thing from uneducated or anything like that. But if you're like genuinely asking me about the history of Ostapenko, I don't think that's the craziest thing she said. I'm going to be honest. I think it's ill timing and the worst person you could have ever said it to. And I don't know if she knows the history of it in America. But I know she's never going to say that ever again in her life. But yeah, I mean, it's just terrible. Like, that's just really bad.
Back.
Okay. I could reach the look like you want to say something because I see the look on your face right now.
I mean, Chad, look, Naomi ain't gonna bring that energy, but I'll get that energy. Fuck Ostanko, raggedy ass, sore loser ass bitch. I am so tired of seeing all of these articles talking about altercation. It was not altercation. It was a salty ass loser who was mad because she got that ass whooped, mollywopped all up and down the court. And she thought that she was going to check Taylor Townsend. But Taylor Townsend is a grown-ass black woman who was like, I ain't got to say side of nothing. Who the fuck are you? And so I'm glad that whoever the hell found out, this ain't no Miss Millie energy over here. This ain't no, all I done for you people energy over here in America. Black folks, we can buck up if we want to. If you want to nuck, we can buck. But Taylor kept it cute and kept it classy. Now, I don't know if y'all go back and watch the video again. Look at the sister in the pink satin skirt. She was ready to turn up. She was like, if I had to comment on the car, I'm whooping ass. Because all that finger shit, that's an ass whooping. That's an ass whooping, but Taylor...
I'm sorry, hold on, Reese. Reese, you said the sister where?
In the stands.
All right, hold on. Wait, hold up. So keep the mics up, roll the video so Reese can narrate. Because I didn't see what come on, hit play. No, fast forward, y'all, fast forward. Come on now. All right, now go ahead. Let's see.
All right.
Bring the audio down on the video, y'all. Thank you. Bring the audio down on the video so Reese go ahead and narrate it so she can tell it with the sister.
All right, look. All right, she telling her, oh, you whoop the whoop. Taylor's like, bitch, learn how to lose with dignity because you ain't busting on the grape over here. You know what I'm saying? You lost, get over it, deal with it, Bobby. Have the day that you deserve. You ain't shit. Goodbye, pack your bags and go. Okay, so all that is happening. You see the aunties. You see, okay, look at the black people. Look at the black people. All right, sister in the pink. They gonna show her when they're panning out. Sister in the pink. Look at her. Action. Pumping her fist. Pumping her chest. She like, that's right, bitch. Tell her we'll get her ass. This very bitch, we in New York. See, they was ready to get active. And that's why Taylor, she hyped too. She like, look, I was classy over there, but I'm over here with more people. We're ready to get booked. And so that's the energy. But, we got our own language. She didn't say all that. But
well, Taylor is from Atlanta. And matter of fact, I think later, I'm trying to find the video. Oh, here it is. Damn it, where'd it go? So Taylor, I guess she was getting a massage or something, and she said this here. Go to my iPad.
I'm talking about other people crashing out at the US Open. Now it's on my behalf. But I'm with it. Bring the smoke.
Bring the smoke.
Like, she's telling you, like, I kept it classy. But see, what happened is Taylor Townsend, she rewinded shit. She was like, damn, I kept it cute. Like, I told her, learn how to lose better, have a nice day, great gameplay. But the sister in her is eating her up a little bit that she didn't go a little bit harder. And now she getting asked about it. And she's like, no, this bitch didn't. She lost. I don't have to bow down to you. You're a loser. I'm a winner. Take the L. Go home. So, I'm with you, Taylor. Like, we support you. You did the right thing. But she only get one time to get booked. She only get one time to put the finger in all that shit. And now she on notice. I don't know what Naomi talked about.
According to Naomi, it wasn't the first time. That's what I'm
saying. The reason I got a problem, Nola, with Naomi said was like, well, maybe she didn't know. No. The heifer knew what she was saying. See, I know well, she ain't from here. No. She questioned her intellect. You ain't got that. She questioned her intellect and class. No, the heifer knew what she was saying.
Let me tell you something. Do you know how many racist Russians walk this planet? They think Ukrainians are black. Y'all need to understand the dynamics here. They literally treat Ukrainians like they're black people. And the rest of the folks from the rest of the IANS and Tajikistan, all the stands, like, y'all need to understand, these are some of the most racist people on the planet. They are, in fact, the OG racist. I have a friend who was dating this Russian woman, and he wouldn't say she was white. He's like, oh, she doesn't think like that. She doesn't believe. I was like, you can be delusional all you want to be. They are the original racists. Trust and believe. So I am not shocked at all that she came at her like that. And, I guess Naomi was trying to keep it cute. She at work. But we're not about to sit here and give her the benefit of the doubt. She knew exactly what she was saying and how she was saying it. And in Trump's America, she felt like she was going to be supported and validated in that level of intolerance and racism. And I'm happy that Naomi kept it cute, but at the same time, she kept it cute, but what?
No, what I was about to say is, again, if y'all let me set it up, don't, Lord have mercy, okay? This, to me, I know she's from Atlanta, but I think she should bring a little Memphis out. That's what I think.
Houston, isn't it?
No, I think it needs to be. No. I think it needs to be. I think we need to go. If she really gonna do that, I think if you gonna really do that, you need to go ahead and
Buck.
Bring the music up. Come on.
Don't you see me on a hustle?
Where you at?
On my shit. I was on my third dance.
Right now,
nigga, what you think I can just run up in here, snap my fingers, and make these motherfuckers throw their money at me?
Hey, bitch, watch your mouth.
Nigga, I ain't even made payout yet.
Lord Jesus.
I mean, it's like Greg. It's like, hey, as they say, if you want to get froggy, let's go.
But you know, it's interesting, Roland. We think about this: boxing, tennis, golf. The whole team is one person. It's always been race war. It's been race war since the days of Jack Johnson,
That's
Joe Louis.
true.
And there were, to the young people a little bit younger than we are, when Tiger Woods burst on the scene in the late 90s, there had been a gap. There was Calvin Pete and Jim Thorpe and those guys, but then Tiger was unbeatable. And so the racism just came out, but he didn't give a damn. As Gary said at the beginning of the show, he just ran up the score. Y'all can't catch me. F y'all. Tennis has a similar arc. Between the Williams sisters and Althea Gibson, the name that comes to mind is your homie. I think she's out of Houston, right? Zena Garrison.
Yep.
But Zena never, she got close. She was high ranked. But when the Williams sisters come on, remember there was story after story about how the white women didn't want to dress with them in the locker room, but they had each other. And so now, however, let's fast forward to now. You got Sloane Stephens, you got Coco Gauff, you got the young girl, the Central African out of Canada now, Victoria Mboko. You got Osaka is almost like a little bit of an elder statesman.
Oh, wait a minute. Osaka beat a girl named Baptiste, a black girl today.
That's what I'm saying.
She's today. And then, of course, you got Madison Keys. She lost earlier.
Madison Keys.
Yep.
Exactly. And so what you now have is a critical mass of black women. And these black women, I'm the oldest in my family, so I always, I like Venus because Venus was the oldest and Venus went first. But let's be clear. Venus, they could kind of, even though they hated black women, they said, oh, she's kind of like a swan. You know how they dehumanize black women, man.
Mm-hmm.
But that sister today, look, listen, she looked like 1999 Serena Williams. The Serena, I'll stuff this tennis ball down your throat. Remember when they was after, I'll stuff it, told the judge, look, she busting out that dress. I will beat your natural ass out here at the U.S. Open. And so when she started putting her fat, I'm saying, now, let's be clear though, Ostapenko, her daddy, I think, was a former Latvian football player, and she looked like it. But go back to the late 90s. Remember the Swiss Miss, Martina Hingis, who they tried to play off when she was against it. Oh, she plays with such precision. And then finally, the Williams sisters, after they finally dispatched her ass, nobody remembers Hingis now. I do think, and I agree with you, these Europeans, particularly those Eastern Europeans, as Du Bois said, the color line belts the world. I think what Osaka did was kind of very interesting because she's a little older. So she's now between the Williams sisters and this new crop of sisters. So she was kind of saying, look, I'm willing to give her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because she's from Latvia and she said crazier stuff than that. And if you know the history of the Eastern European, you know what I'm saying? But it's the same point, isn't it? I mean, because you know that whole map like the back of your hand better than I ever will. So that kind of mentality is coming in some places in ways from how we are perceived internationally because the social media and everything, they looking like these are uneducated, these black girls, man. So, I'm saying all that to get to this point. I have a colleague, Kalita Nichols, who's down at Norfolk State. She put something on social media that I thought was interesting today in the wake of this. She said, y'all don't never ask these white women. Y'all never ask the white girls these questions. But guess what? This new crop of black women, I'm loving the fact that not only are they not going to back down, they're going to beat your ass And as they get their thing, Osaka's willing to say, you know what? I can fall back and say this little thing to fuck with y'all. Because in those locker rooms, they got a squad now. It ain't just Venus and Serena. It ain't just Xena. It ain't just Althea. They got a whole ass squad, and they handing out ass whippings. So keep your cool, sis. Put your thing on social media. Them white girls is mad. Guess what? They're going to be mad for the next 20 years because ass whippings are lining up and little black girls are taking tennis rackets. These are the daughters of Venus and Serena, and it's more of them on the way. So get used to it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, although, you know, I guess she's coming, I don't know if she's retired or not, but you got to remember, 2017 U.S. Open, Sloane Stephens, she's commenting the U.S. Open, but this, y'all, come on now, y'all got to, come on. So she's the same thing as well. And don't forget when that other crazy, I don't know where that woman even from. Remember when Coco Gauff beat her ass at Wimbledon and homegirl was acted a fool and all this sort of stuff like that? You know, hey. I forgot which movie it was, but said, take that ass whip like a man, take that ass whip like a woman. I mean, just hey. I mean, look, when you get beat and you get your ass beat in a straight set, just go ahead, shake hands, sit your ass down, collect your rackets and your bag, and take your ass to the airport. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, that's how it is. And so I had the same feeling when I play some people in golf. Take that ass whooping. Go ahead, take it.
Take that ass whooping.
Go ahead, take it. And then if you don't want to get your ass whooped, go practice some more. I mean, that's a way you can change it. I mean, that's a way you can shift this thing. But I'm just simply saying, you know. So, but yeah, they acting a fool. I mean, then it's like, oh yeah, wait. But I love was like, yeah, wait till I beat you. Wait till I get you out of the country. She's like, I whip your ass out the country. Like I'm confused.
I can't play. I forgot how to play because I took a
She was like, you know, I beat you out the country.
Right.
You're trying to say, wait till we get to Europe and they throwing banana peels and shit.
Right.
On the,
wait till I get
thing.
to the
That's trying to say, she's like, oh, you're going to
energy.
take abuse outside of the country. But guess what? The black girls is popping internationally, okay?
No
so
question.
Take your little pipe dream and go ahead and go cry in the car, pack your bags up, bitch. Hopefully,
you know,
a little premium economy upgrade on your way back to Latvia.
Hey, and you know, again, I mean, listen, I would tell, I love playing golf, trash talking works. Is like, you know, ass whoopings do travel. See, Taylor, y'all know I'm petty. Taylor did it right. I would have been like, let's be clear, ass whippings are not domestic.
No question. But she did it right. She did it right.
I got a passport.
She did it right.
Let's stamp this passport.
Nose to nose,
Let's get this going internationally.
Exactly.
She did it right. She did it right. You're right. She did it right.
I still would be.
Hey, look, I would love to be a fly on the wall when those sisters talk offline, because you know they be together. I'm sure they got a group chat. Whoa, I wish I could see it.
Oh, you already
might have said, "Hey, y'all, I got this. I got."
You already know. You already know the black girl group chat was hot.
Oh man,
I'm just saying.
We here for it. You keep it classy, you keep it cute, and then
right, because we're here.
Because I'm a duck if you would. She gonna be all kind of bitches and motherfuckers over here. Okay, you just keep it cute over here though. I'm letting loose. I'm dragging that ass. I ain't got a problem with it. I'll be ghetto. I'll be not educated. I'll be classless. I got you, sis. Don't worry.
Right. Exactly. I'll be all the things. I got you.
Yeah, I'll be all the things because I don't give a damn.
Exactly.
Right. Well,
they need some of that Williams sisters, because you remember how they used to do it. They had that little sing-songy answer. Serena was best at this. She might say something like, "Well, she
barrettes and the braids,"
and then smile. You know, it's like, yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, exactly. At Wimbledon, in front of the Queen. Take that, Compton.
I will continue to be petty.
We know, Roland.
Yes, I will continue to be petty, whether we're talking about Taylor Townsend or some people who can't open a school after 10 years.
Ooh.
After 10 years.
He get astray.
After 10 years.
I mean, he's such an easy target. It's not hard.
Just simply saying.
How
Ro always got time. He always got time. He always got time.
And let me also just be real clear.
Reese, you going to one of those $500 dates?
Let me also just be real clear. If anyone out here is talking about who is the most accomplished black scholar in the country, y'all would be confused.
People have said those words about him in the same sentence?
Just say by itself. Just saying. I mean, I will. I mean, if we gonna talk about Ali against Chuck Wepner, it's Greg Carr against.
Oh no, don't do. Hey man,
It's good to see you back in front of the books, Dr. Carr. It's good to see the books.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Came back from Africa. You already know. Listen, hey, look, I'm glad. I don't mess with Umar. I know Umar a long time, man. Umar is a tragedy, I think. I mean, you remember Roland? I mean, we came over TV One, messing with you. I mean, the guy, Umar wants to do right by black people, I think. But the problem he has is the problem with anybody who tries to do what he's doing, the way he's doing it is, you can't do nothing by yourself, man. You can't do nothing by yourself. When I think about all the people who should be collaborating with you, Roland, and collaborating with Black Star, who are now trying to collaborate with each other and work around. No, you can't do anything by yourself. Umar can't open a school by yourself, man. You can't raise enough money. You buy a building, how you gonna pay your staff? He could have had a charter school 20 years ago. He was a licensed school psychologist. He was an itinerant psychologist in Philadelphia. When I first met Umar, he was working in the African Centered Network, kept her charter school. He would talk, he could have had a school, but no woman is an island. No man is an island. And he got jammed up, and now he's become a caricature, and it's a tragedy. It really is. But in that moment, now when they come for you, it's people eating off him. They're on YouTube making videos, making videos. To me, the lesson of Umar Johnson is quite simple. Despite your intentions, your ego can have you destroyed. We got to work together. And now we laugh at him, and it's kind of a tragedy. I'm sure I'll see Umar again. I'm back and forth in Philly, and I'm sure he's going to be just as double and quadruple down, 10 toes down on where he is. But at this point now, you got the tax people after you. You got the state of Delaware after you. You got the city of Wilmington after you, and your punchline. I don't know how he gets out of this. I don't know.
I am very clear, and I've said this here. And listen, it's a whole lot going on. You look at what's happening with Uncle Nearest, receivership, 108 million in loans, and people are like, no, don't be going after Fawn. Don't be. Let me just be very clear, and I don't celebrate anybody downfall, demise, going through rough things. But I'm going to say this to people, and this is free. When you're trying to build something, you focus on the basics. When you're trying to build something, you always watch the money. And then the second thing is, you always watch the person who watches the money. And then what you do is, and then there's literally nothing wrong. And again, let me be real clear, everybody, I'm not equating the two. What I'm talking about are all of these things people are talking about when we're talking about building businesses and building schools, building black-owned media, building these things. When you're trying to build something, what you cannot do is spend time worrying about what other folk are saying. You have to focus on building. But see, in the case of the aforementioned individual, when you claim you led to my show being canceled, we know that was a lie.
Oh, come on, man.
But this is the thing that I had to say to all them talkers out there on YouTube and them talkers on social media, that if you add all of them up, they still don't even equal our size. Do you know why? Because we didn't spend any time on them. We don't make videos about them.
That's right.
Because this ain't actually about them. You focus on building. See, if Roland was going to build a school, I wouldn't try to build an elementary school, middle school, and a high school. If I was going to build a school, I would start with K through 3.
Right.
And then I would build 4 through 6. Right. Then I would build 6 through 8. Then I would build 9 through 12. And you know what? The building, it may take some time. See, it's a lot of people who had a whole lot to say when we started 7 years ago next Thursday. It's a lot of people. Look at that. Ain't nobody watching you. Look at them views. Look at them views. Never understanding what our strategy was. Oh, y'all can't. It's like Nehemiah. Nehemiah said, don't listen to the haters, keep building. See, when you spend so much time talking, then you ain't focused on the fundamentals of your business. So what I'm saying to our folk, I don't care what you're trying to build, focus on building it and not trying to be a celebrity. Because you know what people are going to remember? They're not going to remember your viral videos. They're going to remember what you built. Or in this case, what you
Slutty vegans.
No. In this case, they're going to remember what you didn't build. So people need to understand that. And so it's a lot of things that people are learning out here. And it's a lot of things that our people need to also learn and not get caught up in the celebrity of entrepreneurship. Because let me tell y'all something. I know a whole lot of black entrepreneurs and a whole lot of black educators who built schools, and y'all don't see, y'all don't hear about them. They not talking, they not posting, they not doing no Nicki Minaj challenge. They not doing any. You know what they doing? They got their head down and they're focused on the product. And that's what folk should be learning from. And that's what we should be taking away from it. So, again, to the people who love to run their mouths about what we do here, what we don't do, what we should be doing, I literally don't watch or hear you. Because I know next Thursday, we'll be celebrating 7 years when a whole bunch of people never even got to 7 months. And trust me, I'm unveiling something next Thursday, which is the next evolution and the next step on the Black Star Network. So y'all tune in next Thursday. And again, to all the folks who keep running their mouth hating, it's a little hard for me to hear you when you way back there. Reese, Greg, Nola, thanks for being on today's show. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Tomorrow, y'all heard me mention Uncle Nearest. You listening what's happening with Slutty Vegan. I'm gonna have a business expert on tomorrow because we want to talk about that. We want to talk about, because there are a lot of people out there. It's a lot of folk who love talking about entrepreneurship who don't even know what that thing requires. And so I'm gonna have that conversation tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. All right, y'all, support the work that we do. Again, we celebrate 7 years next week. 7 years since we launched Roland Martin Unfiltered, 4 years since we launched the Black Star Network. Your support has been critical. We've had more than 36,000 donors since we launched. That first check was a $500 check from a 92-year-old black woman in Long Island, New York. And we have been building ever since. And again, we've been focused on the work, y'all. Just put our head down, doing what needs to be done. That's what we've been doing, okay? That's what we've been doing. That's what we've been building. That's what we've been focusing on. And so your support is critical because, again, we ain't getting, listen, I had a great conversation with a sister who's the co-founder of a local black owned media company. helping them, just sharing my thoughts with them. I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with a sister who's taken over the editorial duties at a legacy black media brand. And so I have these conversations all the time. They're not always public. And I do that because I share with people the lessons that we've learned, things that we've done that didn't work out, things that we've done that did work out, because this is not about competition. This is not about that at all. This is about how do we build a black ecosystem, a black-owned media ecosystem. I'm having a conversation with a black newspaper publisher. They're going completely digital in October. I don't have a problem sharing the information with them because that's what we should be doing. And so we're going to be doing that. But your support is critical for us to do what we do. What we want to do, y'all, I'm putting it out there right now. Our anniversary is September 7th. I've got Tamika Mallory, Bishop William Barber, and others helping with him. We're going to be sending them some special 7th anniversary graphics. We're going to be flooding social media. We want to close out the year between September 4th and December 31st. We want to close out to hit our target of $1 million. That, I'm telling y'all, we are preparing for 2026. We want to be on the road, broadcasting all around the country in 2026. We don't know if these campaigns are going to be spending any advertising money with us, but we want to be in Texas. We want to be in Louisiana. We want to be in Georgia. We want to be in North Carolina. We want to be in Kentucky. We want to be in these places, again, to share the stories and to cover the things that matter to us. So, your support is critical. If you want to give via Cash App, Stripe, please use that. It's the QR code you see right here. For the link, go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037 7-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available bookstores nationwide. Get the audio version I read on Audible. Folks, be sure to get out Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network swag. That's right. Get all of our swag. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. Also, support these black-owned products you see right here on my desk. We've got these products, leafy toilet tissue. We've got a skincare company. We've got backpacks and shirts and barbecue sauces and sweets and popcorn, all kind of good stuff. Get all of that stuff. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. And of course, be sure to get the app fan base. Download that app. We want to blow those numbers up. If you want to invest, go to startengine.com/fanbase. Startengine.com/fanbase. Folks, that's it. Let me shout out my man Warwick Dunn. I'm wearing this is one of the golf shirts. This is actually from last year. Man, it's a really nice golf shirt. So let me shout out Warwick Dunn, his foundation, the work that they do helping families get into homes in partnership with Habitat for Humanity. So I'm rocking his shirt along with my my Bailey hat? Yeah, this is my Bailey hat. Not a Stetson or a Cody Jane. This is my Bailey hat. So I wanted to wear the silver today. All right, y'all. I gotta go. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hey, what interview is coming up after the show? We had fan base yesterday. All right, stay tuned. We got an interview coming up about Rolling with Roland.